Good evening, everybody. Today, being a Sunday, we expected much more participation in this webinar. Maybe some are busy elsewhere. They might be joining soon. Today's presentation will be on the management of instrument separations, and our speaker will be Dr. Subhankar Banik, and our moderator will be Dr. Smita Pal. So, Dr. Smita Pal.
Thank you, sir. A very pleasant evening to everyone, and I welcome you all to today's webinar. Let me introduce Dr. Shubhankar Bonik to you before he begins his presentation. He has done his BDS from VMSPC Dental College in Tamil Nadu and MDS in Conservative Dentistry from DDCRC in Kota. He has one publication and presently he is working as a consultant endodontist at ILS Agartala. So may I now request Dr. Shubhankar to start with his presentation. The topic of today's presentation is management of instrument separations. Dr. Shubhankar.
Thank you very much. Today's presentation, as we know, is management of instrument separation. So, good evening all. I welcome you all to this webinar, which has been organized by Indian Dental Association Tripura State Branch, and I thank all the office bearers and Dr. Shajan Dada to give me the opportunity to speak today. And this is a very delicate topic, if you ask me, being an endodontist, management of instrument separation. One of the most frustrating task in a dental clinic is to manage an instrument which has been separated. Now, let's see. So, starting up, in routine endodontics, a clinician may encounter with many procedural errors and obstacles which may alter the course of treatment at any stage. Many clinicians associate broken instruments with separated files, but a sectioned silver point, a segment of lentillospiral, a part of Gates Glidden drill, finger spreader can also be categorized under these broken instruments. Now, its role in success and failure is dubious. Why it is a dubious issue? Sometimes it may take many years for a tooth which has undergone a mishap like instrument separation to have any kind of symptoms or to become symptomatic. Other times, we can see within years, 1 or 2 years, or sometimes within 3 to 4 months, the patient comes back with a lot of pain, maybe some swelling. So this presentation will highlight how to minimize and how to manage such mishaps during routine endodontic procedures. We will be totally seeing through the clinical aspects. So let's begin. So the factors which are responsible for separation of instruments. These are the few core factors which, if we can keep in our mind, will help us or guide us in such a manner that we, being the clinician or the operator, can have these points in our mind which may influence our work to some extent to minimize such kind of mishaps and errors. So for me, it is the first thing which I deal is the instrument fatigue, which may cause such kind of errors. Some may say that the operator factor is also a big thing. Overzealous use of instrument and technique related to the instrumentation, skipping the sequence of instrumentation, misinterpretation of preoperative radiographs, use of non-precarved stiff instruments in a curved canal. So these are the few main uh, reasons which I come across while treating any kind of separated instrument cases. So first, the operator factor. Now, as I have started saying that it is one of the most frustrating thing that may happen to a clinician, because routine endodontic procedure are the backbone of all clinicians. Speaking of which, such kind of error may actually make the operator very puzzled. He may get frustrated. Sometimes I get some cases who come out themselves only. They will refer the patients after they come go back to them. Uh, I will see that they have not obturated one canal, or they have half obturated the canal. So these kind of things are really frustrating. For this not to happen, we should have proper knowledge, skill, and planning to overcome such problems. Now, why I am saying knowledge, skill, and planning? Knowledge, yes, it is needed. We have to know where to use what kind of files. We have to know what kind of force we should give. We have to know how to use a file. Now, skill is a lot of the newcomers, especially. I have seen them. They start the negotiation from 15 number K5. Uh, for me, it should not be like that, and it is like that for generally all the good practitioners we all are practicing. We never start with 15K file. We start with a smaller file, maybe 6, maybe 10, maybe 8. Then we proceed on. So we should know how to do it, and the planning thing. Now, what planning is to be done before we start an endodontic procedure? Say for the interior teeth or the premolars, most of the teeth will be having straight roots. Sometimes the lateral incisors will be having some dilacerated roots. Other than that, most of the interior teeth are having straight roots. So that causes less problems to work with. Going back, as we move posterior, the molars, the third molars. These are the areas where expertise, skill, and planning is, I think, the most important factor to minimize such kind of mishap. And to overcome, if some mishap has occurred also, to overcome them, we should have that knowledge. So, if in doubt, I always say that myself, I also do. For surgical cases, I have specialists. For orthodontic cases, I have specialists. So, in any factor, in any part, anybody is stuck, please, if you are not willing or you are not doing it, don't keep it there. At least inform the patient that something has occurred. I am referring you to some place. It will be taken care of. So, please refer to the specialist in need. Now, degree of curvature. The canal anatomy is a very peculiar thing. All the radiographs which are available in our sector, CBCT is not available. So we, most of us are using normal IOPR radiograph or RVG radiographs in our clinic before starting our procedures. And we should always assess the curvature of the root before we start any procedure. This will surely help in to reduce such kind of mishaps. So the most commonly employed technique is a Schneider's method. So in Schneider's method, what we'll do, there is a diagram over here. As we can see, a point A, which denotes the apical foramen, point B, from where the curvature begins. If we are coming down, the first part where the curvature starts is the point B, and A is a point in the apical foramen region. And point C is chosen on this line. A line is drawn in such a way from B towards the orifice that AB is equal to BC. So the angle formed by lines AB and BC is the angle of the curvature, degree of curvature which we are speaking of. Now E and F are the midpoint of AB and BC, the two lines which we have drawn respectively, and we will extending that, or we will draw a perpendicular to meet at a point O. Now OB, OC, and OA, these are equal because these are the radius of a curvature we are making out. Now this radius of curvature will help us to determine the circumference. If the circumference is more, the degree of the difficulty or the magnitude of difficulty may increase. As it decreases, the magnitude may decrease. So it is very well said, and it is calculated by a lot of the researchers that if the angle is less than 5 degrees, the canal is straight. If the angle is 5 to 20 degrees, the canal is moderately curved, and if the angle is greater than 20 degrees, the canal is classified as severely curved. So we should plan it accordingly before we can think of starting any kind of instrumentation. Coming to the instrument fatigue, most separation occurs due to the instrument fatigue. Now there are two types of fatigue. One is flexural and is torsional. Now let us first go through the flexural fatigue. So it occurs when the instrument continuously rotates freely in a curved canal, generating tension and compressive cycles at the point of maximum flexure, that is the point of maximum curvature, which eventually results in fracture of files. So it is proposed that repeated tension and compression cycles caused by the rotation within the curved canals increases the cyclic fatigue of the instrument over time. Flexural fatigue fracture occurs essentially due to overuse of the files. Other factors potentially contributing to the fatigue fracture includes corrosion and changes caused by thermal expansion and contraction. Now, corrosion and thermal expansion and contraction comes when we are actually sterilizing the files. It is said by many manufacturers that when a file is sterilized or when a file is autoclaved, it is seen that the life of the file decreases because the cutting efficiency becomes less. So this is mentioned in here. Coming to the torsional fracture part. Now, torsional fracture occurs when the instrument becomes locked in the canal while the file shank continues to rotate. And most of these fractures occurs at the tip of the instrument, as which is actually moving towards the apical part. So the most torsional resistance is felt there. That's why the file fractures. Now, instruments that fracture as a result of torsional overload reveals plastic deformation like unwinding, straightening, and twisting. It was theorized that once a microcrack was initiated, it can propagate very quickly, causing catastrophic fractures. And it has been found that such kind of fracture grows more rapidly in a nickel titanium files uh, as compared to a stainless steel file. Coming to the access cavity, this is also a very important factor. A lot of cases which comes to me, I have seen the people or the clinicians, practitioners, those who are opening the access are not removing the overhanging dentines. Some are not only maximum, out of 10, say 5 to 6, I have seen they are not actually deroofing the pulp chamber. So this is very problematic in sense of filing. So a completed access cavity should allow unobstructed visual access to all root canals and act as a funnel to guide the instrument into the canal, straight to the apex or to the point of the first curvature. There should not be anything hanging or anything impinging on the file while we are actually negotiating or entering the file into the canal. Now, interference by the cavity walls or by unremoved dentine shoulders in the coronal third of the root canal can increase the stress imposed on the instruments during preparation by increasing the number and severity of curvature that must be negotiated. Expanding the access cavity is also its bad thing. It is also having a bad effect on our instrumentation. What happens in a much wider cavity, the access cavity prepared, when we tend to file a canal or when we tend to negotiate a canal, the canal will not go to the orifice, it will go to the adjacent widened area and it will cause bending of the tips. Reusing canal. So most of the clinicians we reuse the canal for some time at least. So we should have some points which I'm discussing now in mind, so that such kind of error doesn't occur, or at least it lessens in number. Such kind of fracture lessens in number. All endodontic instruments should be carefully examined with or without magnification prior to reuse of signs of wear. Now, why I am saying the magnification thing? Because a lot of the new dentists or those who are practicing, say first for past 1 or 2 years, they are uh, building up their practice. They should at least, if they are not knowing what kind of deformations there in the file, at least after 1 or 2 use, take a magnifying glass and check the tip and the middle third of the file. Regarding stainless steel instruments, any shiny mark, areas of unwinding, sharp bending, or any other kind of permanent distortion or corrosion are indications of excessive fatigue and should serve as a warning of impending fracture. As such, instruments should be discarded. Please don't keep such kind of unwinded files or some files which are bent or some flutes have opened. Don't keep it in your box. Just throw it away. It will not matter you much as a separated instrument will matter you. Similar deformations of night eye instruments should also be regarded as a signal, but there is a big but in this. Night eye instruments very less shows such kind of signs. They can fracture at any moment, I guess. The clinicians must bear in mind the original shape of the instrument and any specific guidelines by the manufacturer in order to identify correctly which instrument should be discarded and which should be kept. Now, instrument sequencing, we should not skip the files. That is thing. A lot of people will jump. They are not pulling well or they are in a hurry. They will jump from 20 to 30. There is a big jump. It is not a small jump. So this may cause a lot of problem. It is essential that the instrument sequence of a specific technique is not neglected. If I am starting from a number 8 file, I'll use 10, I'll use 12, then I'll use 15. Then I'll jump to 20, then I'll jump to 25. I'll not jump from 10 to 15 like that or 15 to 25 like that. I will never skip a file. If I'll skip a file, I know that afterwards it will come back to me. It requires a greater number of instruments to prepare a canal. Each file will undergo less stress and consequently a greater lifespan. So if we are maintaining an instrument sequence, the sequence of the instrumentation is maintained, then it will help us to not only gain us the patient side, but also economically it will be helpful for us. We will be seeing that we are having less instrument wear or less instrument stress, so it can be at least used 1 or 2 times. It is believed that a combination of file of different systems and the use of different instrumentation techniques to manage individual clinical situation can reduce the risk of file separation. Now, as we will start with hand files, first we'll negotiate the canal. Say I always start from number 8 file, 8, 10, 12. Then I go to 15. Then, if it is okay, then I move to 20 number 15 4% file. And if I see that the canals are still narrow, I generally use the Pathfinder files. Now, instrument size. Smaller instruments are more susceptible to torsional failure than the larger instruments, and have been recommended that small files are we should be more cautious with the small files. Now, clinically, logic which we are having would suggest that the smaller files are more susceptible to distortion, as they are the principal files involved in the negotiation and initial instrumentation of the root canal. As we all start from a smaller file, then only we can actually use the much greater paper files like 4% or 6%. Uh, we cannot actually skip the smaller files and move up to 6% at once. Uh, so maximum of the error will occur in that files only. I've seen people who are referring cases. They are saying that the number 15 file is structured, so, uh, number 10 file is structured. I have seen some cases which have reported back to me with Headstorm number 30, this one 30 file. Headstorm 30 file is stuck in a central incisor and all. So we should always have this sequential order. We should always maintain the size of the instrument. We should have it in mind that we'll move from a smaller file and we'll go to a greater paper. Now, how can we prevent it? Ensure adequate training and proficiency in the NITI system of choice before clinician use by practicing on extracted teeth or resin blocks. I myself also have the habit to practice without any question on extracted teeth. Sometimes I do make error. At that time, I go back to the basics. I take up my extracted tooth and I see that how can I go wrong? I have not done any, I have not skipped any essential points. Then how can this go wrong? So I'll go back to it. It is nothing that everybody is perfect and all. It is always about the practice. As we practice, we brush up our skill, it will improve. So we should always start using rotary files when we are having it in clinic in first, for the newcomer especially, on an extracted tube or resin blocks like that. Then create a manual glide path to ensure unimpeded access to the root canal before use of the greater taper NITI files. Employ a crown down instrumentation technique to ensure straight line access to the root canal. Use a torque controlled motor at manufacturer's recommendation in setting. The file manufacturers actually, all the good file manufacturers, they will be giving us instructions in written that please use torque 2.5 NCM, please use 1.5, and the speed should be 350, 300, 400, 450 like that. So if we use that recommended setting, then those files of those manufacturers have less tendency to give us trouble. Now, coming to the management protocol, which is the important aspect of this uh, presentation, poor treatment protocols has been suggested by literature for management of fractured instruments in root canals. So the first is allowing the separated instrument to be retained in the canals and treating the remaining portion of the canal. Bypassing the separated file and treating the canal. This is one of my favorite, and most of the cases I do are bypassing. Most of the clinicians who are endodontically inspired and working in working as an endodontist, or those who are practicing endodontics for a lot of years, they will be preferring this style, the bypassing technique, retrieving the separated fragments and treating the canal. Now this is a very hectic thing. During retrieval, a lot of factors are there which should be kept in mind. We should not damage, in the process of retrieval, we should not damage the tooth structure. Dentin is really precious. So as we move down, the diameter of the tooth decreases, the root diameter decreases. So any separated file which is, say, in the middle third or in the deeper middle third towards the apex, to take out that file, we have to, in very big sense, we have to sacrifice a lot of dentin. Now, taking out dentin means we are actually decreasing the life of the tooth. The strength of the tooth will decrease. The tooth will eventually go into to experience a fracture. Surgical approach to retrieve of for retrieval of separated fragments followed by treatment accordingly. Now, surgical approaches are also there, like apicectomy is there, reimplantation, intentional implantations of the teeth has been practiced in such case. I do have some cases which I have done reimplantation, and those are successful. Now, coming to the cases. So, the first case, a male patient of 35 years age reported with the complaint of incomplete treatment and pain in the lower back tooth region. The history given was about pain which he started the treatment, which was there when he started the treatment, but he discontinued it after some days. Then developed mild pain which was dull. So he took a radiograph which revealed there were two separated fragments in one single canal. The tooth was bit curved. The curvature must be around 10 degrees, not more than that. One was in the middle third and another in the apical third. So access was refined with an endojet birth under rubber dam and isolation and after L application. Attempt was made to visualize the files, but due to the curvature, the fragments were not seen. Now, if we can see the file, then only we can attempt to remove it. If we are not seeing the file and we are using our ultrasonics, we are using all other instruments, it is of no use. No use. We need good magnification, we need good illumination, and 100% we need good access to the file. Then only we can remove it. 3% sodium hypochlorite was filled in the canal and agitated with ultrasonic tip to dislodge the middle fragment, but the attempt was failed. I attempted for 2 sittings. I tried to take it out, which I thought would have come, and the later one I previously planned to bypass. Middle third fragment also, I couldn't dislodge it from the canal. So the best part, I started bypassing the file. I started with the number 8 file. Then I moved to number 25, number 10, number 12, number 15, then number 20 up to 25 K5. And I always use EDT agent. Now the working length determination was 19 millimeter. At each file change, the alternate irrigation with saline and 3% sodium hypochlorite was done. First bypass was achieved till number 25 K5. The files were then first pre-cop. Then it was entered in. So this was how I bypassed it. Biomechanical preparation. First, up to 25, I have done the hand filing. Then I went back to the 4% paper files. First 20, 25, then 4%, then the 6% files. 26%, then 25. The file, because as we can see in the radiograph, the canal is a bit wider, and the separation which had occurred is due to the curvature in the root canal. Now, intra-appointment calcium hydroxide dressing was given and the patient was recalled 1 week later. Patient was found asymptomatic, thus master cone fit was checked. The coating of resin-based sealer H+ was given. Then one vertical condensation technique was used to obturate, and later on, Miracle mix post-endo restoration was done. So this was case 1. Moving on to the case 2, this was referred to me for instrument separation again. It was this time when ProTaper S2 which got separated in mesopectoral canal. Now, for me, bypassing and ProTaper is very hectic. I tried, I have failed also. There are some success stories, some failure stories, which makes good clinician, I guess. So, lot of are there, say 3 or 4 cases, which they used F2, I guess, they have separated in one case. In one case, they have separated in F1 and S1 in one, another one is F1. Those were very difficult to bypass. Uh, then I had to decide. I decided, and those parts were actually placed apically. So I decided to keep them there, and they are under my observation only. They report me after each 3 months. For last 8 to 9 months, I'm seeing them. They are fine. They are asymptomatic. I think they nothing will happen to those patients. The teeth will stay. Now the patient was asymptomatic when he was referred to me. So initial file removal was again attempted. I attempted I used the ultrasonics and lubrication to dislodge it, but I failed. So I again went back to the old school. Bypassing was initiated from number 8.5 till number 20 K5. Final shaping was done till 25 4% iFlex blue files. Obturation was done with collateral condensation technique. So this is the result. Now the file is part of the final filling and the patient is happy. Coming to case number 3, patient reported with chief complaint of pain since 3 months. Found one separated instrument in mesolingual canal of 3/6. Previous operator had tried to take it out, and there was lot of dentin loss at that part. The separated instrument and was totally dislodged. I too tried to first dislodge it, but then I thought why to waste the remaining dentin, and I skipped it. Then I went back to the basics. I started the manual file bypassing. Only option conservative was left was bypass. So GP was removed from all the canals first using GP solvent and HEL files. Bypass was done using number 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25 files. Now, from number 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, I pre-carved all the instruments and did it. Number 25 also, I had pre-carved and did. The distal canal was prepared till 25 6%. Mesobuccal was prepared till 25 4%. And that of the file, which is that is a mesolingual file, I have only prepared it to 25K file only, and luckily it went and met the mesolingual canal. So I obturated it. The patient is fine now. Coming to the case number 4, I was rushed to a clinic. The clinician called me. Something bad has happened. Please come to my clinic. He was rushed there. I said, "What happened?" He said, "I have separated 2 instruments, and I have informed the patient." He's a very good guy. It is better to inform the patient something bad has happened, and it will be dealt with. Nothing to be worried. So he informed the patient. The patient was also very cooperative. Patient side should be good. Then only the doctor will be able to manage the patient. Which this is what I feel. So 2 separated files in the mesobuccal canal in 4/7. So I went there, refined the access. Now I started looking. I saw the first canal, that is the mesobuccal canal. I couldn't see it. So I used to gaze within drill 1, 2, 3, first, second, and third drill to enlarge the orifice first. Then I could see the first canal, first separated file, the head of the first separated file. I used the E3, which is plain one. It doesn't have diamond on its tip. I I, I used lubrication. In this case, I used baby oil, 2 drops of baby oil in the canal, and just I put the ultrasonic tip around it, and it popped out. So it was easy. Now the second one was in a bit deeper part, and it was much engaged. Again started using the ultrasonics. Now in this second canal, sorry, second separated instrument case, I used the E3D, which was having diamond coated on it, and I just went around. I didn't touch the file. I just went around the file, so I could make some space, at least 1/3 part or some part few millimeters get exposed, so that I can use the E3, which is non-coated file, which is a plain non-coated ultrasonic, which is which can I can touch the head of the instrument so that it can pop up, and it by next 15 minutes after trying, popped out. So we can see there are two separated instruments which I have retrieved, and I have handed over the case to the operator and said, just go ahead, don't put any bigger file inside, start with a smaller file, then I think nothing will be the problem. Now, this was my patient, operated last December, I guess. This patient, age 65 years, reported with pain due to fractured crown in 4-5. And this gentleman, though he was 65, but he said that I don't want to extract my teeth. I want to keep it. Please help me with this. I say, okay, let me try. What can I do? I can just do a root canal. Maybe I can put a post-in core after crown laminating, and then I can put a crown. I think it will be okay. So I initiated the treatment with a working length of 20 millimeters. I used Highflex CM5 and prepared it also. But mishap occurred and separation occurred partially outside the apex. I was lucky to get it, means to bypass it, but as it was outside the canal, I was in a dilemma. I was a bit anguished also. I said, what has happened? Why it happened? Actually, when I was taking out the file, the patient accidentally closed the mouth. That was my bad luck, and it got stuck over there. So I informed the patient, this has happened, sir. I can do it. If you are willing to do it, you are willing to save me, and if you believe me that I can do it, I'll do it. So this is the procedure I'll go through. So I extracted the tooth after and chair side only. This case took more than 3 hours. I cancelled the later patient and said I have an important case, plus convinced them to go back. I fully concentrated on that case. I said, sir, it will take some time. If you will be with me, I can do it. I extracted the teeth first. I went for an apexectomy. Then I had put MTA. I did MTA apexification. Then I put it back into the socket, and with number 21 wire, I just braided it, twisted it, and made a splint and fixed the tooth with this, adjacent 4 and 6, and obturated the tooth. I called this patient at an interval of 7 days to just take a radiograph. Initial weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, I saw there was slight mobility. It will be there, I know. Then eventually after day 24, I noticed that tooth started to have its grip. It was actually getting fixed at its own place. So on day 28, I removed the splint, and there was no mobility. The tooth was firm, and I was happy. Then I have placed a crown in it. That radiograph I don't have. I couldn't get it. So this is the surgical aspect of instrument retrieval. Now, coming to the discussion of what we have seen in my cases. Now, separated instrument factor. Now, what is that? It is generally believed that short files, NiTi rotary instruments, and shorter fragments are more difficult to remove compared to K files, SS rotary instruments, and longer fragments, respectively. Why NiTi are difficult to remove? Because they are having their own spring back mechanism, their own shape memories. So as we try to remove it, we just if we can all just uh, use an ultrasonic and just agitate it, it spring backs to its original position and gets stuck in the canal. this is the very frustrating thing I have noticed with this NITI files while removing. But the degree of root curvature makes it more difficult for retrieval of files. As I have said, the degree of curvature is a big factor. That's why I have explained the Schneider's technique. At least with the plain radiograph, if we will see that this degree, this root is that much curved. So if I make it in rough estimation, if I can make, then it will helpful for me. If it is 5 to 10 or less than 5, it's okay, we can attempt. If it is more than 10, then we should be careful. The patient factor, separated endodontic file in canal may result in a patient in a state of anxiety, anguish, and agony. It is obviously it happens with me also. I will be in agony. I will be in anguish, and I will be angry also, which happens with a lot of patients. So it is an embarrassing condition for the dentist to face the patient once the mishap results, unless we explain the patient about the complexity and its potential complication before initiation of the treatment itself. Here I emphasize the need of uh, consent form. An informed consent should be there that this can occur, sir. Please go through it. Please sign it. I, in my clinic, keep an informed consent always. I always inform the consent. I have a general consent in which I have complications for extraction, for root canal treatment. Any of the procedures I do, I have written. I always say, please go through it. If you have anything to ask, you ask me. A lot of patients come back to me, sir, what is this? What is paresthesia? And what is file separation and all? Then I had to explain. So they, after hearing about the file separation, a lot of them will be afraid, or they will be in state of dilemma to do the treatment or not. Still, I managed to convince them to do the treatment so that for their own betterment, they do the treatment and go home happily. A separated fragment of the instrument in root canal may be indirectly responsible for endodontic treatment failure by limiting the access to the apical part of the canal, compromising disinfection and obturation. Disinfection is one of the leading reasons for which we see endodontic failure. Not only in instrument separation cases, a lot of cases where canal is not properly instrumented up to the apex. Those cases also we will see treatment failure. So disinfection, obturation is important part. So biomechanical preparation till our working length is very mandatory, very much mandatory for a successful endodontic treatment. It is rarely directly responsible unless a pre-existing infection is there. In this case, cases 1 to 5, retrieval was attempted, but it failed because of the curved nature of the canal and the instrument being lodged in dentine. Case 3 already had a lot of dentine lost, so I decided to go with the bypassing only for that. The bypass is a process of using smaller flexible files to go around the fractured fragments to reach the apical stop. Moreover, the instrument's retrieval demands removal of precious root dentine which weaken the tooth. I always have this in mind whenever I start roughing around a instrument which is coronally placed or it is almost in the middle third of the teeth. If I see that I have to remove a lot of dentine, then actually I stop. It is better to go for a bypass than I go for removal of this instrument. In bypass cases, the fragments were bypassed to reach the apex. As we have seen, calcium hydroxide dressing was given to make the canal sterile and aseptic. Most of the bypass cases, after bypassing and cleaning the canal, I at least do one sitting, means for one appointment, I will be placing calcium hydroxide. Then only after one sitting, say for 2 to 3 days interval, I will call back the patient and I will observe the canal. In case 4, the fragment was situated more coronal position, thus retrieval was possible to achieve with minimal loss of Dentine. That's why I have attempted it and it was successful. In case 5, drastic measure was adopted as the file was out of the apex partially, which may have led to a complication later or after the local anesthesia had weared off. So that's why I have informed the patient first. I have taken his consent and gone for a intentional reimplantation. Moreover, the patient consent, patience, and compliance is required for such procedure. Any separated file case, it may be my own case, it may be a referred case. Patient should be willing first. Patient should have that much patience, and he should comply with all the directives which a clinician observes during working on such patients. If any of this is not in place, then those patients will make a fuss from the treatment. So we have to make the patient first consider what are the consequences, what will happen, and what may happen. Then only we should start a treatment, or in this case, in case of a separated instrument, we should explain the procedure, then we should go for it. Coming to the conclusion, managing such separations are very complex. Retrieval is first choice. Always everyone wants to just take out what has gone wrong. But sacrificing precious wood dentine should be considered always. Bypassing allows instrumentation of canals along with debridement and proper obturation. So I recommend any of the newcomers uh, who are practicing, who are facing this kind of problem, or any of the clinicians who are facing this kind of problem, uh, do practice on blocks or extracted teeth to bypass and broken instrument. Just put an instrument, break it, try to bypass it. And it is not that much hard. Only it is time consuming and some material consuming. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 sort of new files to bypass a single, say 3 or 4 millimeter separated instrument in the canal. So if we can overcome fear of losing that there will be a great loss economically amount, and we see the greater aspect, greater thinking for the patient and our practice, then I think these small things can be overcome very nicely. So these are the few references I have taken, and thank you very much. This was my presentation. And any
Thank you,
questions?
Dr.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Shubhankar. That was an excellent and very informative presentation. So, if
Thank you.
anyone has any questions, please you can ask now.
I have one question, Shavankar.
Yes.
You are using ultrasonic tapes for the retrieval of the files.
Yes.
Okay, you are using with the ultrasonic scaler, or you are using with the
I use this I have a DT5 scaler with me, and the DT's people are woodpecker people are same only. They are those file which I use E3 and E3D. These are from the same manufacturer, which finally find nicely fits into my system, and I can work.
there is one company coming out with the ultrasonic agitators.
Yes.
They got one file specially designed for the retrieval of the files. Do you feel that that will be better than our normal scaler?
Ultrasonics are very aggressive.
Ultrasonic agitator which we use intracanal for agitating the
Yes, yes, yes. There is one company. I think you are talking about the Oricam.
yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah, I have used it in one of the clinics, and it is very helpful also. I actually removed one instrument from the canal using that. They are giving three type of tip. One is the
Yeah.
blue one is red one, and is the golden one. Right.
Yeah,
So
one is silver, one is blue, and another is gold. I think
gold.
for
Okay.
file retrieval, they are recommending the gold.
Yeah, gold one is there recommending for that. Yes, yes. I've used it in one of the clinics, and I have found that it is very effective also in lot of cases. In that case, actually, that was an headstone file, and God knows how that instrument was so fine. Uh, I took about 30 minutes. Slowly, it has come up. Yeah, I have used it. Another thing is there are a lot of instrument deployable kits. Though they are very costly, lot of the endodontists actually prefer to have those things. I don't have mesonym kit and all, but I use bypassing and the ultrasonics if it is in the coronal or middle port. So there are two or three kits are there. One is file removal kit, one is Masaram kit, and another one is there which is very new. I guess last 5 to 10 years that they have developed it, PRFK kit by Dr. Yoshi Terayuchi. He is known as the retrievodontist in world of endodontics.
It's
He has
a
developed one
very
kit.
specialized, super specialty.
Yeah. He is the you can say he is the god of retrieval endodontics. So he has developed a kit which is having Yoshi's loop and agitating tips by which or the threatening tips by which you can threaten out the instrument. You can use the loop to engage it and just dislodge it from the canal. It is very good also, but the cost effectiveness is very high. That is one of the problems.
How much it comes? Shubhankar, how much it comes for this kit?
TRFK, what I have inquired is more than 85,000. 85,000 for one kit. And in this kit, they are giving two loops, so two Yoshi's loop. And Yoshi loop is made very thin, 0.14 mm wire, something they say like that. And it tends to break. So I have not inquired about the refill, how much will be the refill and all. But what I have heard, the refills are also very costly.
Any other question? Okay. Over to Dr. Shahjahanat, sir.
So it's been a really very important subject to discuss, particularly we, the general practitioners in dentistry. Actually, we are not much equipped also, not much trained also regarding retrieval of the files. So next time, I feel like doing some hands-on on file retrieving or bypassing, whatever. I think that will be more encouraging for the general practitioners who are doing endo works. I think, Shubhankar, that will be a better idea, no?
I think
Because,
at least if we can instill the bypassing technique in the general dentistry, because the endodontics is the bread and butter for each and every clinic, right?
yeah, exactly.
So at least bypassing techniques should be a common thing for all the dentists. We should know how to manage it. We should know how to bypass. Now, if we are failing the bypassing technique, then only we should go or take the help from a specialist. Because bypassing is not that much hectic. Only thing is that some amount of file you will need. Once you enter a file, you feel the resistance, you feel that gap. So that file definitely you have to change. The first file. To take it out, you have to get a new file. So you have to do it until you feel the file is moving inside. This is the main things. And if we can have a class or we can have a workshop on such kind of things, and I think endodontic blocks are available with already they have structured a file inside for practicing bypassing and all. So if we
Is
can
it
arrange,
so?
it will be, yeah, it will be very helpful. And the blocks are not that much costly. Also, 350 rupees they are charging us.
Yeah,
Presentation.
for hands-on in any workshop, we can charge the participant for this much of
Yes, yes.
very less cost
Files,
as such.
files also, and regarding file, I've seen the online lot of files they're selling, and I myself I experiment with lot of files. I always check the stiffness, the ability of the file to drive inside the canal, and how the file can work, the efficiency of working and all. I always see that people, many people actually use a metal which is much softer, as compared to the prime files. Do you agree with me, Dr. Shadanath sir?
Yeah, exactly.
And I recently I am using C files from a company called Sigga, and those C files are very much effective in any canals, straight, curved canals, calcified canals. I
But
have
they're very hard, though. The
it
metals
is
are
very
very
hard. Yeah, it is actually very hard. So in that case, as I have already discussed in my fifth or sixth slide about the degree of curvature, I decide the curvature first. I pre-carve the instrument. I pre-carve it first, and very less. I can say out of 10 cases, if I do in a day, one file I may not pre-carve. Other than that, most of the files, it is my habit to pre-carve it, because I don't trust the two-dimensional radiographs all the time. For one activity after completion or before I start, I always take my own radiographs. I take an SLOB, I take a straight radiograph. Then I will start. During the obturation also I do the same thing. I keep it parallel and one at SLOB position. Then I take. Have you? I think you have all noticed that all the radiographs which I have shown, the post of radiographs are all SLOB. Uh, the same side was lingual, and opposite sides were distal. So opposite side was buccal. That kind of radiograph I have taken. So I take that kind of radiographs only, and it is much easier to assess, and also it is much easier to us to conclude. Okay, it's a good observation. We can finish.
but for bypassing.
Yeah.
Will you prefer C files over the normal conventional K files?
No, for bypassing, I use a bit soft files first. The
Soft files.
money
Hmm.
files are much softer than the prime files. I use money, prime, and that Silver files. Now, Oricam has also taken the right for those files. They are also giving, uh, packing those files, and they are also selling that. I don't know the name, but I have seen in some ad that the same. The file was same. It was laser marked at 18, 19, 20, 22, and like that. So that was
But
same for the
but
file actually.
I find this number 6 and number 8 files are very risky to use.
Yeah, they are very risky to use. That's why when I usually bypass at least 6 number files, that is the minimum I say. Uh, at least like 8 number files. Once I feel that it has bent inside, I just immediately take it out. And if it is
Yeah,
stuck,
it often while bypassing it often gets bent.
no, it will. Bypassing is like that only. That it will king. The file will king. The file will bend, and it will bend in such a condition that I cannot. No one can use it again. So I have to just
Yeah, exactly.
just-
Hmm. So, any more question from anybody? So we can close down this session for today. We'll be continuing such programs later on also. We'll be informing in our group regarding it. So thank you very much, Shubhankar, for your nice presentation and giving us lots of time in preparation of the whole your slides and everything. So next time we'll be expecting from you to conduct a hands-on workshop or a workshop for at least for the bypassing technique which you have just now recommended, that there are some certain models available where we can do. So Somidda Pathada, one of the very senior. Two
This is
of
also
them are.
this is also my proposal to Dr. Shubhankar
Yes, sir.
to conduct a hand-on workshop.
Sure, sir. If arrangements are made after this pandemic situation, definitely I will be happy to be part of such a workshop, sir.
No,
Today
we
I have
got
been-
actually several workshop we have done on endo works, but never on the your broken instruments, separated instruments. So I like to be very specific. Only particular Shamidda on we can conduct on one such workshop where we have to deal only with the separated files.
Yeah.
Because this is one challenge where we the general practitioners is to face so often.
Really, this is a challenge and also a very unfortunate occurrence and with frustrating experience.
Even a fresh instrument can break.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. It may occur.
Even in my case, in one case, I found one of my fresh instruments. Just nowadays, I use one file for 2 cases only. Thereafter, whatever the condition of the file, I threw it away.
I myself, uh, I myself use the first files, that is 8, 10, 12, and 15 number, all fresh files.
Yes. Those files. Yeah. I was
And
talking about the shaping files.
shaping files. Yeah, shaping files which I use. Nowadays there are stoppers which are available with
Yeah, with
like,
markers.
yeah, with marker.
You can tear. You can tear.
Yeah. That is the
How many
thing I
times
use.
you use that?
Yeah, how many times I have used? I tear once and throw it for, say, for one patient I've used. I just tear one, I throw it out. I have seen actually after 10 users, I've seen that the working part of the file, that 16 millimeter, slowly becomes very blunt. In comparison to a new file, it is really blunt. The cutting
We can
efficiency,
feel it. We can feel it.
with the cutting efficiencies at number 7 or 8 use decreases by, I guess, 60-70%.
So thank you very much, Shubhankar. Thanks everybody whoever have participated. We're
Thank you.
expecting more. Next time we'll be conducting another one, maybe on orthodontics. So next time we'll be seeing you again. Thank you.
Will it
Thanks
be
everybody.
before puja or after puja?
There are some certain issues coming up. Very recently, we came to know that few of the unemployed dental surgeons will be getting some contractual jobs in the COVID
Yeah.
care center and COVID hospitals, dedicated COVID hospitals. So might be we may need to give some reorientation program also for those who will be joining. So
Reorientation on what?
on COVID treatment protocols. We are planning like this. So if that we need to do, we may have to defer our normal CDE programs after puja.
Okay, that will be better, I think.
Okay. Okay, thanks everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay.